Hello everyone, it's Pastor Luther, and it's good to be with you for another children's video message. I hope you're having fun this summer. Are you ready for your Good News Jesus Bible story this week? Well, to introduce my Good News Jesus Bible story this week, I have a couple questions for you. I want you to answer these questions, and then we'll pause. And then we'll come back and read our Bible story, and like we usually do, we will discuss our Bible story after you answer your questions and after you listen to the story. Okay, here's my two questions for you, and it's actually questions for you to ask your mom and dad, about you. The first question is this: ask your mom and dad to tell you the story about the day you were born. What do they remember about that day? What is the story about you being born? And here's my second question. Why did your parents give you the name you have, and what does your name mean? Okay, you think about those two questions. We'll pause the video, then we'll come back and we'll read the story, and then we will discuss your answers and the story all together. Okay, see you in a couple minutes. Abraham and Sarah's visitors. When Abram was 99 years old, he and his wife Sarai were still waiting for God's promise of a huge family to come true. Abram was getting frustrated. He asked God, "God, what are you waiting for?" God spoke to Abram, "I will keep my promise, and I will change your names. Instead of Abram, your name will be Abraham. Instead of Sarai, your wife's name will be Sarah." Abraham was afraid of what God said. He thought he was too old to become the father of so many people, and his wife was too old to have children. Abraham fell on his face and peeked up at God with one eye. Could God really make such a thing happen? Later, as Abraham was sitting by the tent, he saw three strangers walking towards him. Abram squinted into the sun and wondered who would be visiting him on such a hot day. "Hi," Abraham said when they arrived. "You must be tired from traveling. Would you like to sit down to rest and have some food?" Quickly, Abraham asked Sarah to make some bread. He ordered his servant to prepare some meat. Sarah stood hiding in the tent, listening to the visitors. Who were they? Why had they come to her house? And why were they talking about her? Sarah leaned in a little closer. "Your wife, Sarah, will have a son," the visitors said to Abraham. Sarah started to laugh. Didn't they know she was too old to have a child? The visitors looked up. "Why is Sarah laughing?" they asked. "Doesn't she believe God's promise will happen?" God's promise to Abraham did happen. Sarah had a baby boy and named him Isaac, which means laughter. Abraham and Sarah's family grew and grew and grew, and God blessed each generation with laughter and happiness. Hi again, everyone, and welcome back. After answering your questions and listening to the Bible story, I hope you enjoyed it. Did you notice with me that Abraham and Sarah both laughed because they didn't think that God could act in such an incredible and miraculous and marvelous way in their lives? And did you know that after God surprised them with a baby boy, that they named the baby boy Isaac because Isaac means laughter? I want you to think again about your story, about the circumstances and the situation of you being born, and ask again your mom and or your dad, or ask them together to tell you that story, and ask them again why they named you your name and what your name means. And I want to remind each and every one of you that God continues to create people of faith today, just like God did thousands and thousands of years ago with Abraham and Sarah, giving them a baby boy and creating more faith in the world. God is doing the same thing in your family today. Okay, thanks for listening to another Good News Jesus Bible story, another story, this one about Abraham and Sarah and Isaac, but also a story about your family, about your mom and your dad, or your parents or your moms or your dads, and you. And it's all a beautiful story about God creating people of faith today, because God loves all people. All right, be safe, be well, enjoy the summer. It's almost time to go back to school. Bye-bye.